Imagine this. You're standing on the edge of a cliff. Below you, a vast expanse of opportunity. But there's something holding you back. Fear, doubt, excuses. For most of us, it's the excuses that keep us from jumping. We look at the distance between where we are and where we want to be, and instead of taking that leap, we rationalize. I'm not ready yet. I don't have enough time. What if I fail? And slowly those excuses grow into barriers. But here's the truth. The distance between you and your dreams is not as wide as it seems. It's not the opportunities that are missing, it's the action. It's the excuses that hold us back from embracing what's possible. In this video, we're going to explore 7 powerful ways to eliminate excuses and replace them with relentless action. Because, at the end of the day, it's not the world that holds you back, it's the choices you make. And when you choose action, there's nothing that can stop you. Are you ready to break free? Let's dive in. Let's begin with a powerful truth. You are where you are because of the choices you've made. Now, I know that's not easy to hear. It's much easier to blame your circumstances, the economy, or even other people. But here's the thing. When you start taking full responsibility for your life, something changes inside of you. You realize you're no longer a passenger. You're the driver. There was a time in my life when I was stuck and I blamed everything around me. I told myself, if I had a better job, if my boss just understood me, if I had more money, I could do so much more. But what I didn't see was that I was making excuses. The truth was, I was waiting for life to change on its own. I thought the world owed me something. But the real breakthrough came when I stopped blaming others. I took a hard look at myself and realized that everything in my life, good or bad, was a result of the choices I had made up to that point. It wasn't the world that was holding me back. It wasn't anyone's fault. It was me. When you take full responsibility, you stop giving away your power. You stop waiting for someone or something to change. You realize that you are the creator of your circumstances. And with that realization comes freedom. Freedom to act. Freedom to change. When you're stuck in the habit of making excuses, it's easy to point to external factors. I can't start my business because I don't have enough money. I can't lose weight because I have a slow metabolism. We all have reasons, excuses that hold us back. But when you take responsibility, you stop waiting for external conditions to be perfect. You start working with what you have. This is about taking ownership of your life's direction. You're not waiting for things to improve. You're making improvements every single day, no matter how small. Here's the real question to ask yourself. What could you do today if you stopped blaming others or your circumstances? The answer is simple. You could take the first step toward your goal. You could take action, no matter how imperfect that action might be. So, here's what I want you to do. From this moment forward, make a commitment to stop making excuses. Stop blaming the past or anyone else. Your future is in your hands. And when you take full responsibility for it, everything begins to change. Remember, success is predictable, but it starts with responsibility. 2, commit to a vision bigger than your excuses. Let me ask you this. What's the vision for your life? Not the vague dream of doing well or getting by, but the clear, compelling vision that gets you out of bed every morning, eager to take action. Without a vision, you're just floating, waiting for something to happen. But when you have a vision, something changes deep inside. It pulls you forward, it drives you, and it transforms excuses into action. When I was starting out, I didn't have a clear vision. I had ideas, dreams, but they weren't compelling enough to push me through the tough times. I wasn't clear on where I was going. I had days when I wanted to give up. When excuses like, it's too hard, I'm too tired, or I'm not good enough would creep in. But one day, something clicked. I realized that if I didn't change my vision, my life would never change. You see, excuses are a byproduct of a weak or unclear vision. When the why behind what you're doing isn't strong enough, the how becomes a barrier. The obstacles look bigger than they really are. But when your vision is big enough, when it's something that lights a fire in you, those excuses no longer have the power to hold you back. Having a vision bigger than your excuses means that no matter what challenges you face, your purpose will push you through. Think about it. When the reason you're working is compelling enough, when you truly understand why you're doing what you're doing, the excuses start to fall away. The work becomes less about, what am I getting out of it? And more about, what can I give to the world? It's about having something greater than yourself to focus on. I remember for years I struggled with procrastination. I had dreams, yes, but they weren't burning inside me. I would wake up, go through the motions, and feel like I was getting nowhere. But when I began to see a bigger vision for my life, one that involved helping others, building something that could last, and living with purpose, everything changed. Suddenly, excuses didn't seem like valid reasons anymore. I had something I couldn't afford to delay. A compelling vision is like a magnet. It attracts you. It pulls you forward when you feel like quitting. It becomes a beacon in the dark moments, reminding you that your work is bigger than any temporary discomfort. Without that vision, you're just drifting. And drifting is the perfect breeding ground for excuses. Ask yourself, what do I really want? Not in a casual sense, but in a way that shakes you to your core. What's that goal that, when you think about it, gets you excited and pushes you to do whatever it takes to make it happen? This is the kind of vision I'm talking about, the kind that makes excuses seem small, irrelevant, and unnecessary. Once you have this vision, everything changes. The hard work, the late nights, the sacrifices. They don't feel like sacrifices anymore because they're part of something bigger than yourself. Your why becomes the reason you don't stop, even when the road gets tough. You don't let distractions, setbacks, or fear of failure steer you away. Your vision becomes a shield against the excuses that used to paralyze you. It's not about what happens to you, it's about what you decide to do in response. You see, life will always throw challenges your way. It's inevitable. But when your vision is clear and compelling, those challenges become opportunities to grow. Obstacles are no longer roadblocks. They're just detours on the way to where you're going. A powerful vision will make you resilient. To stay committed to that vision, you need to keep it in front of you. Write it down, speak it out loud every day, visualize it, see it, breathe it. The more you focus on your vision, the less power excuses will have over you. It's about making that vision so real in your mind that it becomes the thing you chase every day, no matter what distractions or excuses try to pull you off course. And finally, remember that your vision doesn't have to be perfect from the start. It doesn't have to be fully fleshed out right now. The key is to start with something that excites you, something that resonates deep within you. As you move forward, it will evolve. But the most important thing is that you commit to it. You commit to a vision that is bigger than your excuses, and everything else will follow. So, what's your vision? Are you ready to stop making excuses and start living it? The choice is yours. 3, break goals into bite-sized pieces. One of the biggest reasons people fail to take action is because their goals seem too big, too overwhelming, and frankly, too impossible. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. The same applies to your dreams and goals. They're not meant to be tackled all at once. If you break them down into smaller, manageable pieces, suddenly they're not so intimidating. The key is focusing on the small, daily steps that will eventually lead to the big picture. I've been there before, staring at a goal so grand that I was paralyzed by it. I had dreams of success, of building a business, of making a difference. But every time I thought about what it would take, I felt overwhelmed. There was so much to do, so much to learn, so many obstacles in the way. How was I ever going to get from here to there? That's when I realized the power of breaking it down. Instead of focusing on the mountain I had to climb, I started focusing on the next step, just the next step. And that made all the difference. When you focus on the journey rather than the destination, it becomes more about progress than perfection. It's no longer about how far you have to go, but how much you've already achieved, step by step. Let me share a story with you. When I first started speaking professionally, the thought of standing in front of thousands of people terrified me. I wasn't sure if I could handle the pressure, if I was good enough, or if I even had something valuable to say. But instead of focusing on how big and daunting the goal seemed, I broke it down. I started with small audiences. I focused on practicing, refining my message, and getting comfortable with the experience. I set smaller, achievable targets for myself. A speech a week, learning something new each time, improving one aspect of my delivery. Those small wins built momentum. Each success, no matter how minor, made the next one easier. Soon, the fear began to dissipate. The goal of speaking to large crowds didn't seem so intimidating anymore. It was just another step in a long line of small successes. When you break your big goals into smaller pieces, it's not just about simplifying them. It's about building momentum. Momentum is a powerful thing. It's what drives us to keep going when things get tough. It's the little victories that give us the energy to keep moving forward, even when the journey feels endless. And it's the small wins that make excuses fade away. Excuses love to thrive when a task seems too big. But when you break your goals down, you create small, manageable steps that are achievable, even on your worst days. You don't have to climb the whole mountain in one leap. You just need to take one step at a time. And those steps, they'll add up to something significant over time. Here's another truth. The road to success is paved with small, consistent actions. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about staying consistent, working steadily toward your goals, and celebrating those small wins along the way. These small wins act as reminders that you're moving forward, that you're progressing, and that every effort counts. When I started focusing on these bite-sized pieces, I stopped worrying about how far I still had to go. I stopped comparing myself to others who seemed further along. I started focusing on my own progress, on the next step in front of me. That shift in mindset was liberating. It took away the pressure, it took away the excuses, and it gave me a clear path to follow. I encourage you to do the same. Whatever your goal may be, whether it's building a business, getting fit, or learning a new skill, don't try to do it all at once. Break it down. Focus on one small thing you can do today. And when you achieve that, celebrate it. Then, move on to the next step. Remember, big dreams are just small actions stacked together. It's the consistent, bite-sized steps that turn dreams into reality. So, take that first small step today, and tomorrow, take another. Before you know it, you'll have built something far bigger than you ever imagined. One of the most powerful forces in achieving success is the simple act of developing consistent habits. It's not the grand moments, the bursts of inspiration, or the big breakthroughs that will propel you forward. It's the small, everyday habits you cultivate. Success doesn't come from occasional effort. It comes from consistent, deliberate action over time. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't often boils down to one thing: the ability to stick to a routine. I've had my own struggles with this. Early on, I had the dream of success, but I didn't have the discipline to back it up. There were days when I was filled with motivation, ready to conquer the world. But then there were other days when I didn't feel like doing the work, when I wanted to take the easy road, and when excuses whispered in my ear, telling me I deserved a break. It wasn't until I developed the habit of showing up, even when I didn't feel like it, that I began to see real progress. You see, discipline is what keeps you going on the days you don't feel like it. It's the ability to act regardless of your feelings. When you rely on motivation, you're at the mercy of your emotions. Motivation will come and go, but discipline is constant. It doesn't matter if you feel energized or if you feel drained. Consistency means you do the work regardless. Habits are the bedrock of consistency. And let me tell you something, habits are not just about actions. They're about creating a mindset. When you commit to consistent habits, you train your mind to focus on long-term results instead of short-term comfort. It's not about what feels good now, it's about what will get you where you want to go in the future. And over time, those habits become automatic. You no longer have to think about whether or not you'll do something. You just do it. Think about a small habit you can incorporate into your day. It could be something as simple as reading for 15 minutes, writing down your goals, or taking a walk to clear your mind. Whatever it is, commit to it. At first, it may feel difficult, even pointless. But let me tell you something. If you stick with it, it will compound. That's the beauty of consistent habits. The power lies not in any one action, but in the consistency of doing it day after day. When I first started building my career, I didn't have the luxury of waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect circumstances. I had to create my own. I developed a habit of reading and learning every single day, no matter how busy I was. I built the habit of setting goals and reviewing them regularly. I made it a habit to work on my personal growth, even when things weren't going my way. And you know what? Over time, those habits paid off. They didn't just lead me to success, they transformed me into the kind of person who could handle success. One of the most important things to remember is that habits don't happen overnight. It takes time to build them, and it takes time to break bad ones. But consistency is key. Even on the days when excuses arise, when it's tempting to skip the work, remember that the small habits you develop today will lead to the success you desire tomorrow. The power of daily habits cannot be overstated. They shape your life, they define who you are, and over time, they create a powerful, unstoppable force in your life. When you commit to daily habits, no matter how small, they begin to build upon one another. Each day's action becomes the foundation for the next day's success. The key is to focus on the process, not just the outcome. If you make consistent habits a priority, success will follow. It's not about waiting for the perfect opportunity or the perfect motivation. It's about showing up every day and doing the work. It's about developing the discipline to stick to your habits, even when it's tough, and trusting that the results will come in time. So, I encourage you to look at your life and think about the habits you want to build. What's one small thing you can do today to start developing consistency? And when you face the temptation to make an excuse, remember, success is built on daily habits, not fleeting motivation. When you focus on consistency, excuses have no power over you. And that's when you begin to see lasting success. The path to success is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And the consistent habits you develop along the way will ensure you cross the finish line. Stay disciplined, stay consistent, and let those habits carry you to the success you deserve. You've probably heard it said before, but let me say it again. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This simple truth is powerful. The people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your mindset, your actions, and your outcomes. If you want to eliminate excuses and create lasting success, you must deliberately choose an environment that encourages growth, accountability, and high standards. Think about it. If you're surrounded by people who make excuses, who are comfortable with mediocrity, who don't challenge you, then guess what? You'll find it difficult to rise above the same attitudes. It's easy to make excuses when everyone around you is doing the same. You'll tell yourself, well, they're not working hard either, so why should I? But when you surround yourself with people who are driven, who challenge you, who inspire you to be better, your perspective changes. You start seeing your potential differently. You start realizing that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. These people will push you, not because they're trying to make your life harder, but because they see the greatness in you that you might not even see yet. I remember a time when I was just starting to get serious about my goals. I had big dreams, but I wasn't surrounded by the right people. I had friends who were content with mediocrity, who weren't willing to challenge themselves, and I found myself falling into the same habits. But as soon as I made the decision to seek out mentors and surround myself with people who were already where I wanted to be, everything changed. I began to think bigger, work harder, and push past my excuses. Those who supported me didn't let me settle. They saw my potential and held me accountable for it. It's not just about being around people who push you to work harder. It's about being around people who believe in you. You need an environment that nurtures your growth, that encourages your dreams, and that provides constructive feedback. This is crucial because excuses are easy to make when there's no one around to challenge them. If you're always surrounded by negativity, it's easy to say, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this isn't meant for me. Maybe it's meant for me, but I'm not good enough. Maybe it's easy to say, Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this isn't meant for me. But when you've got the right people around you, those thoughts don't stand a chance. They won't let you indulge in excuses. They'll remind you of your potential and encourage you to take action. Sometimes they'll push you when you're reluctant to move. And other times, they'll simply offer the wisdom and perspective you need to see things more clearly. I've seen this in my own life. When I was around people who were constantly striving for excellence, I couldn't help but want to do the same. Their energy was contagious. Their drive became mine. And when I encountered obstacles, they were there to offer support, advice, or a different perspective. Something that helped me keep moving forward. The environment you choose doesn't just shape your mindset, it shapes your actions. Let's face it, life gets tough. We all face setbacks, challenges, and moments when we feel like giving up. But when you have the right people around you, they remind you why you started, help you regain focus, and keep you on track. They don't let you make excuses, not because they're trying to be hard on you, but because they know what you're capable of. They see the bigger picture and they refuse to let you settle for less. If you're not surrounded by the right people, it's time to make some changes. Seek out mentors. Join groups of like-minded individuals, or simply surround yourself with people who encourage your growth. The right environment makes all the difference. It helps you eliminate excuses, fosters a mindset of success, and keeps you moving forward, even when the road gets rough. But here's the thing. You also have to contribute to the environment. You can't just expect people to lift you up without offering anything in return. Be that person who encourages, who challenges, and who brings positivity into the lives of others. When you surround yourself with a supportive environment, it becomes a cycle. What you give, you receive. And before you know it, you're not just benefiting from the people around you, but you're contributing to their success as well. So, ask yourself, what kind of environment are you in right now? Are the people around you helping you grow, or are they feeding into your excuses? Do they push you to be your best, or do they allow you to settle for less? Make a conscious decision to create a supportive environment. Choose to be around those who will hold you accountable, challenge you to be better, and remind you that success is within your reach. When you do this, excuses will no longer have a place in your life. Failure is often viewed as a setback, but the truth is, failure is a necessary part of the journey to success. It's not something to fear, but rather something to embrace. Every time you fail, you learn something valuable. It's feedback. Information that helps you adjust, refine, and grow. The more you fail, the more you know what doesn't work. And with each failure, you get closer to what will. The mistake most people make is seeing failure as a sign to quit. They use it as an excuse to give up, to say, maybe I'm not cut out for this. But what if you changed your perspective? What if you saw failure as a lesson instead of a defeat? When you do this, you free yourself from the fear of making mistakes, and you open the door to continuous growth and progress. The successful individuals you admire didn't get there by avoiding failure. They got there because they kept going despite it. They failed, they learned, and they adjusted. They knew that failure was a part of the process, not an end in itself. Every successful person understands that failure is inevitable. It's how you respond to it that makes all the difference. Instead of seeing failure as a reason to stop, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What can I do differently next time? This shift in thinking turns failure into a tool for progress rather than an obstacle. Each failure teaches you something you didn't know before. It shows you a different approach, a new perspective, or a better way to reach your goal. Think of failure as a teacher. Every time you fail, you gain knowledge, experience, and resilience. You become more skilled, more focused, and more prepared for the next challenge. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process of achieving it. When you embrace failure as part of the process, you remove the fear of it. You no longer let it paralyze you. Instead, you use it to move forward with even more determination. Every mistake becomes a lesson that brings you closer to your goal. So, don't let failure be an excuse. Use it as an opportunity to grow, to improve, and to get one step closer to your success. Failure doesn't define you. How you react to it does. Embrace it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Because every time you do, you're building the foundation for lasting success. Procrastination is one of the biggest obstacles to progress. It is easy to get stuck in a cycle of overthinking, waiting for the perfect moment, or feeling like the conditions aren't right. But here's the truth. There is no perfect time. The best time to take action is now. The longer you wait, the longer you delay your success. When you feel the urge to procrastinate, break that habit by acting immediately. Don't wait for motivation to strike. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. When you take the first step, no matter how small, you build momentum. You begin to feel the progress, and that energy pushes you to continue moving forward. Action doesn't have to be grandiose. It doesn't have to be the final step toward your goal. The key is simply to take one step. This could be as simple as sending an email, writing a small paragraph, or making a quick decision that brings you closer to your goal. Once you take that first step, you'll realize that the task isn't as daunting as it seemed. You might be thinking, but I'm not ready. I need to plan more. Here's the reality. Waiting to be fully prepared is often a disguise for fear or doubt. Perfection is an illusion. Every time you put something off until the conditions are ideal, you are allowing procrastination to rule your life. The longer you wait, the further away you get from your goal. Instead, focus on what you can do right now. Don't wait for everything to be perfect before taking action. Small actions lead to big results. What matters is that you start. Once you take that first step, you'll gain clarity, and with each subsequent action, you'll continue to move forward. Every action, no matter how minor, brings you closer to your goal. There's power in momentum. Once you take that initial step, you break free from the paralysis of indecision. Action creates clarity. The more you do, the more you understand. As you continue to act, you adjust and refine your approach. You might not have all the answers at first, but taking action gives you the information you need to make better decisions along the way. Create a habit of acting immediately. When an idea or task comes to mind, take action right away. This could mean starting a small task, setting up a time to work on it, or simply gathering the materials you need. The key is to stop overthinking and start doing. Procrastination thrives on inaction, but action diminishes it. Many times we procrastinate because we feel overwhelmed. We look at a task and see everything that needs to be done, and we freeze. The solution is to break down big tasks into smaller, manageable actions. By tackling one small step at a time, you can avoid feeling overwhelmed and move forward without hesitation. The secret to eliminating procrastination is creating urgency. When you treat your goals and tasks as urgent, you build a sense of responsibility and commitment. Start by setting deadlines for yourself and treating them seriously. The moment you make a task urgent, it becomes more difficult to delay. If you find yourself delaying action because you feel uncertain, remember, uncertainty is a part of life. No one has a complete picture of the future. Instead of waiting for perfect certainty, take the first step anyway. Certainty comes through action, not by sitting and waiting for all the answers. Taking immediate action also builds self-discipline. It trains you to work with purpose, even when you don't feel like it. The more you practice acting in the moment, the easier it becomes. You begin to see how much progress you can make when you don't give in to procrastination. Each small act of discipline becomes a building block for larger successes. You'll notice that every time you act quickly, you increase your confidence and your ability to handle challenges. Action breeds confidence, and confidence builds momentum. You'll soon see that taking immediate action is one of the most powerful tools you have in your personal growth toolbox. When you take immediate action, you also train your mind to stay focused on the present. Procrastination is often a result of worrying about the future or overthinking about potential failures. By focusing on the present moment and taking action now, you eliminate that distraction and shift your focus to what you can control. In the end, there's no substitute for action. Stop waiting for the perfect time because it will never come. What you need is to start right now. When you begin to act without hesitation, you'll realize that success is not about waiting for the perfect opportunity, but about creating opportunities through action. The more you practice taking immediate action, the more unstoppable you become in your pursuit of success. As you step forward and embrace these practices, remember this: success doesn't come from waiting. It comes from consistent, purposeful action. Every excuse you eliminate and every moment you act with intention brings you one step closer to the life you want. The time to start is now. Understand that your journey is not about being perfect, but about being persistent. Don't let excuses hold you back any longer. Take responsibility, set your vision, break it down, and take action. The key to success lies in your ability to take that first step, and then the next. So take a deep breath, silence the excuses, and step into action. Your future is waiting for you to claim it. The only question left is, will you take the first step today? Remember, it's your life. It's your choice. Make it happen.